Mother-in-law stories. The first one is titled, "Am I the a-hole for refusing a necklace with my son's ashes after my husband let his mother take the urn?" My son Tom passed away 4 months ago. At the age of 6, he had a heart condition that robbed him of living his childhood like any other kid. He was such an angel, and he loved food so much. I tried to feed him as much as I could, because he was so thin, and didn't have enough energy to run around and play because of his condition. My husband's family were directly involved in my son's care. They were always there, but they never stayed at the hospital so I could go home and get some sleep. They stopped their kids from being around him. They did not help at all when my son passed away. They felt free to take his belongings, clothes/toys/blankets, and my mother-in-law insisted to have a burial service, but I chose to have him cremated and kept his ashes in an urn inside my bedroom. My mother-in-law started visiting regularly. She didn't do that when he was alive, just visited the hospital, and she started talking about making ashes pendants for me, my husband and her family, as a way to carry Tom's memory with us, and keep him close wherever we go. She told me that my brother-in-law loved Tom so much, and wanted a pendant made for him as well. I was stunned and I didn't know what to tell her. I remember telling her that this was never gonna happen, and that all those family members had their kids with them, and that I was the one who lost a son. She started arguing, talking about how important Tom was to her and the family, and that my husband would agree with this fair treatment, instead of keeping an urn in my bedroom and refusing to let the family share their grief. I told her there was no way I'd say yes. She seemed so upset and took it personally, started berating me, and talking about how everyone else was trying to show support. And that was the last time we spoke. I got invited to a road trip by my family to help get me relieve so much stress, and when I returned after 6 days, I found that my son's urn was gone. My husband showed me a necklace that he said had my son's ashes in it, and pulled out another one that belonged to him that was in the shape of cross. He told me that his mom made necklaces for me, him, her brother-in-law, with our son's ashes, paid money to get it done and so we could all have Tom with us. I was in a shock. I had to sit down for a minute. Turned out, he allowed his mom to take the urn while I was gone, and his defense was that his family cared so much for Tom, and they all deserved to keep a memorial necklace as a way to remember him. I yelled at him that this was my son, not theirs. She had no right to take the urn and do what she wanted with it, especially when I told her no. I was so mad at him, I couldn't even look at him. I took my things and went back to my family, and refused to take the necklace that she put thousands on. I called her and berated her for her awful behavior, and told her she was selfish and inconsiderate for taking my son from me like that. My husband is trying to apologize, but I can't accept he did this and betrayed me. Now for the top comments. I'm so sorry for your loss. Not the a-hole. I would be livid. I would be looking into legal action against mother-in-law and I would be filing for divorce. I'm so sorry they happened to you. What awful people. He actually tried to guilt trip me into accepting, by telling me repeatedly how much money his mother paid to make those necklaces, and it's so wrong, just so wrong of her to think she had a right to do this, and it felt like a slap to the face after I told her that I would never give away, not even some of my son's ashes no matter what, and I cried just like the time I cried when my son passed away. It felt like I lost him again. It's horrible and I can't forgive my husband for what he did to me. I hope she's happy. I hope she can now walk around wearing that necklace, just lying and pretending that she cared for my son. I know it's all for show. She did this for show. I could almost swear she had a different motivation, and it makes me so sick she used my pain to get herself the attention she wanted. Not the a-hole. They should have asked your permission. I don't care what freaking weasel words they use. They had no right. She already knew that I had no intentions on doing what she asked, but she thought that my husband's approval was enough for her. He has no excuse, absolutely no excuse for what he did, no matter what he says. I'm hurt by him, mostly because I really thought that he was the only one who really understood my pain, and how much my son's death devastated me. But I see him differently now. He made me feel like I was losing my son again, and he is responsible for what his mother did. I cut contact with her. She knows she can never even call because of the things that I'd say to her. She knew she made a mistake, and she's now hiding behind my husband. Not the a-hole. So basically, mother-in-law is a grave robber. And your husband enabled it. I am so sorry this happened to you. It is so far outside the boundaries of reasonable behavior. Yes, I agree so much with this. It would be one thing if it was something you and your husband agreed would be a fitting way to memorialize your son, but it was not. She essentially desecrated his final resting place in your eyes. How can you do anything but divorce your husband after this? It would be justified, simply for how he allowed his family to treat you whilst your son was alive, but after this? Does he ever put your needs first? Now for the second story. Am I the a-hole for not calling my mother-in-law mom? My mother died when I was 15. My dad remarried, and I have a stepmom that I call by first name. I have a mom. She died, but she's still my mom. Fast forward. I've been married for 10 years. My mother-in-law asked me to call her mom early in our marriage, and I politely said no. My husband's family is around regularly, but it's not easy to be with them. They are heavy social drinkers, functioning alcoholics even, and it's never been easy. They are petty, and nitpick things like criticizing my 9-year-old for wearing graphic t-shirts like Spider-Man to online class, instead of at least plain t-shirts, saying it's not professional, is just the latest in a long list of microaggressions. A few weeks ago, was my birthday and we had dinner on a patio. My mother-in-law again brought up how she wished I would call her mom. I told her, I don't even call my stepmom mom, and that I'm going to keep calling her by her first name. I was polite but firm. She called my husband a few days later, and said it's been long enough, and I need to call her mom. Long enough for what? I'm not sure. But my husband told her it was my business what I called her. Fast forward to this week. It was another birthday. Another patio dinner. Lots of drinking. She insisted I call her mom. I don't know what happened, guys. I'm usually pretty calm. But I told her, again, that I wasn't calling her mom. Actually, I don't remember my exact words, but something appropriate and firm now. That I loved her but wasn't calling her mom. She told me it's been long enough and I need to get over it. I think she meant long enough since my mom died. I snapped, and told her it wasn't something to get over, and that I had a mom, and I would continue to call her first name. She started crying and asking why I was doing this to her. I ended the conversation by asking one of her daughters to switch seats with me under the pretense of being closer to one of my kids. I'm sorry, I snapped. I'm usually pretty calm and cool. One of her other daughters told me, she just wants to be close to me. My husband mostly agrees with me, but thinks I should just call her mom to keep the peace. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, she's not your mother, she's your mother-in-law. It's gross she keeps bringing this up and expects you to change your mind. Not the a-hole. My mother-in-law gave me a daughter birthday card and told me I could call her mom when I'd known her 6 months. I politely refused. She went whinging to then boyfriend about it, and he asked me what was going on. I showed him the card and explained that 1. I have my own mom. 2. I'd known her 6 months. 3. I don't want to. 4. She was his mom, not mine. 5. If she was my mom too, I definitely wouldn't be doing the thing we'd done the previous night ever again. She brought it up again the next day, and he told her it was weird, and I was definitely not his sister. Done. You are not the a-hole, but your husband is for even suggesting you humor her. What is her problem? This is such an odd fixation. I lost my mom too, and the answer to when it's been long enough to get over it, is never. Learning to live your life after loss is not at all the same as getting over it. I'm so sorry you're going through this, and if that is you snapping, you are clearly a gentle soul. Not the a-hole. Hubs needs to get his head on straight. This is a simple thing that is very important to you, and you come before his mom. I hesitate to ask if there are other ways in which he kowtows to mom too. Keep the peace. Does anyone remember dinosaurs? The baby in that show always called his father, not the mama. Dunno if it's a good idea, but if she won't back off, you can start calling mother-in-law, not mom. Not the a-hole, and honestly, very few people I know, I'm in my early 40s, call their mother-in-law mom. It's a generational thing and our generation doesn't do it. Really? Thanks for that perspective. I appreciate it. I never thought of it like that. Also, ask your husband why your mother's feelings are more important than yours, because that's what he is saying. Oh. Damn. I will. Thank you. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my mother-in-law see my baby? I'm a 24 female and my fiancé is 26 male. I've posted before about how toxic my mother-in-law is, but to quickly recap, she made a scene at the wedding venue we were booking, and for a year, told my fiancé to leave me, that I'm not good enough, that she wanted nothing to do with our wedding, showed my fiancé my dress, called me names, and tried to cut him out of his family. I didn't speak to her this whole time, until we found out that we're expecting a baby, and my fiancé asked me to put things aside to go to her house and announce it. Since then, she has said very strange things about the baby, like she's going to take off all its clothes when we visit with them, she's going to kiss it on the lips, and expects me to leave the baby with her straight away, which we've asked her not to do any of this, but she said she can do it because it's her grandchild. My fiancé hasn't been speaking to her, since he asked her to stop buying things for our baby, as she was going completely over the top. She continued to do it anyway, so they stopped speaking for a few weeks. My fiancé visits his grandma every Sunday. So last week, his grandma told him that he has to go and visit his mom, and instead of telling his grandma he didn't want to, he did anyway. My fiancé decided to tell his mom things that I'd asked him not to. For example, I'm currently suffering with prenatal depression and struggling, which has led me to take a year break from nursing school. His response to telling her was that he thought she'd care. Instead, she told him that I'm a waste of space, I'm lazy, I've never worked a day in my life, which isn't true, that when we buy a house, which we're saving for, she's going to put something in place, so that the mortgage can't be in my name, that I'm just going to leave my fiancé anyway, that my family are scum and aren't good enough for him, and that when the baby is here, she's not doing anything I ask regarding the baby, since I've only been a mom for 5 minutes. I decided enough was enough, and contacted her to tell her that I'm really tired of being put down by her, and that I don't know what I did or have done to make her have such a low opinion of me, but I just didn't want to be degraded by her anymore. I told her I wasn't comfortable with what she'd said and done so far regarding the baby, and that I've decided myself and the baby will be staying away from her from now on, and that we have no room for negativity in our lives. My fiancé thinks not letting her see the baby is unreasonable, and that I'm using the baby as a weapon. He was devastated that I contacted her, as his family just normally fall in line with her. I have a tendency to second guess myself, so I just want to know, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. But your fiancé should be helping the situation, not making it worse. You should be a team, and you shouldn't have to contact her about your boundaries. Your fiancé should be able to do that for you. Now you're even more the bad guy in her books, because you and your fiancé aren't showing her a united front. Why would he want his baby to be around someone who threatened to get naked in front of the baby? That bit really threw me. I think nudity should be a non-issue, and I wouldn't have a problem with kids seeing their grandparents naked. But in a context where they just don't avoid it, not where they purposefully strip in front of the kid. That sounds completely creepy and insane. Edit. Okay, she wants to strip the baby, not herself. Still a really weird hill for her to die on. At least she's giving you fair warning that she's not going to respect your parenting choices. It was kind of confusing, but I think OP meant the grandma said she'd take all the baby's clothes off. Still pretty creepy. Not the a-hole. Your fiancé is so far out of line, I can't even. Your future mother-in-law sounds actually dangerous to the baby. Who the hell kisses babies on the lips? He should be backing you up and putting boundaries up for his mother. He might need help to do that. Get that help before the baby arrives if you can. Get him in therapy. If he has any other family members who could support you in this, not his mother or grandmother, ideally someone who doesn't talk to his mother. Given that she is not a good person, there must be a few, then recruit them. Get your friends to help. Get his friends to help. Friends can be the family you choose. Not only the kissing thing, but what's with her comment about taking off all their clothes? She just came off sounding creepy. Not the a-hole. Your fiancé, however, is a complete a-hole. He should have your back with this, knowing how toxic she is. That's insane that he's not supporting you in this. The baby shouldn't be a pawn in the middle of their goddamn issues. You have every right as a mother to not want to expose your baby to such toxic behavior. Yes, OP does so much have a mill problem as a fiancé problem. The mill is crazy, but it's the fiancé that's problematic. He should be setting hard, clear boundaries and sticking to them. He should be making clear that they are their boundaries together as a unit, a team, and not blame OP. He should be defending OP when his mom starts degrading her, and leave if she doesn't stop. If he can or won't do these things, I would definitely pause on the wedding, and go to some couples counseling. Not the a-holes. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.